Welcome, healthy friends, to the Reality of Health podcast. Today we're talking about fiber. Wow, could there be anything more boring than fiber? Well, actually might be kind of fun. You might hear some birds or some barking in the background because I have my windows open. It's absolutely beautiful today. There's no way I'm closing that window. Thank you for your understanding. So with fiber, your body can actually handle a very small amount, but only from unprocessed foods like citrus or avocado, maybe sweet potato. I'm talking about grains and processed foods and fiber supplements and beans. Does anybody really actually like beans? Oh boy, here he goes again with another controversial topic. I know, but I gotta bring you the truth, right? You do not need fiber at all whatsoever. Eric, how could you possibly say such a thing? I mean, we're all told that fiber is essential, and that the more fiber, the better. Well, let me hit you right off the bat with the best control study done yet on fiber, and the people with associated symptoms. So from the World Journal of Gastroenterology from September 7th of 2012, this study was called Stopping or Reducing Dietary Fiber Intake Reduces Constipation and its Associated Symptoms. So there's 63 patients. They compared a high and a low and a zero fiber diet. They weren't allowed to have fruit or cereals or breads or grains for the zero fiber. They were all in the study because of constipation and bloating, anal bleeding, pain, and of course, too much strain. So initially, doing their baseline diet, which is your normal standard diet, which we know the modern diet is terrible. Well then, when they went to a high fiber diet, all their symptoms increased. It basically doubled. That's incredible. When they went to a reduced fiber diet or a low fiber diet, their original symptoms went down by half. When they went to a zero fiber diet, all of their symptoms went away. 100% of the symptoms and 100% of the 63 patients had zero symptoms, completely eradicated by getting off fiber.
That's pretty impressive.
The first thing we're told is that it lowers cholesterol and gets rid of all these bowel diseases. Well, that is simply not true. It causes everything from constipation to hemorrhoids, to irritable bowel syndrome, to ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, colon cancer, and about 50 other known digestive issues. It even affects your endocrine organs and your genital urinary system. Creates all kinds of disorders in that area. Even Harvard stated that fiber does nothing for colon cancer. The FDA said that fiber doesn't do anything for colorectal cancer. Want to know what else Harvard said? Well, they said fiber intake has also been linked with metabolic syndrome, which has factors that increases the chances of developing heart disease and diabetes. Those factors are high blood pressure, high insulin levels, excess weight, and high levels of triglycerides. Oh, don't worry, I got more. The Institute of Medicine has a set of guidelines for dietary reference intakes, and they say that fiber actually counts towards your calories. It's actually 1.5 to 2.5 calories per gram of consumed fiber. Yeah, so if you believe in the whole calorie theory, then yep, you're getting calories from fiber. The textbook that's called The Functional Gastrointestinal Disorders states there is no difference in transit time associated with fiber intake. So to think that fiber will regulate your transit time is just not true. In reality, it slows the transit. Can you say constipation? Well, that turns into hemorrhoids, diverticulosis, ulcerative colitis. How about Crohn's disease? Eat up. But Eric, doesn't fiber stop constipation? Not according to the American College of Gastroenterology. They said fiber did not demonstrate a significant improvement. In stool frequency or consistency when compared with placebo. Why? Well, because if you clog your drain, would you keep stuffing more stuff down the drain thinking, well, the more you push through there, then the better? I mean, come on, you keep pushing and it'll push the stuff at the end. It'll just keep going along. No, it doesn't work that way. You know what toilet paper is made out of? It's plant cellulose. Plant cellulose is plant fiber. Ever clog your toilet? If you read the labels of fiber products sold to you, they say that may cause bloating, gas, or feeling of fullness. Notify your doctor if you experience stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, rectal bleeding, or unrelieved constipation. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Fiber and foods containing fiber are huge money makers. These types of foods would be known as peasant food.
Ratatouille. It's a peasant dish.
The same food they feed animals. So since the food companies influence the medical associations that create the guidelines, you're being bamboozled into believing you need fiber and a lot of it. The medical profession makes money off of fiber. Causes so many gut issues that it's become a very profitable business. Why is it if you go in with a diverticulitis attack, they remove all fiber out of your diet till you feel better? I thought fiber was good for your gut. And no, seeds do not cause diverticulosis. Fiber causes diverticulosis. Interesting to note that Japan barely has any fiber in their cultural food intake, and yet they have some of the highest longevity on Earth. So if you go by the recommended guidelines of 25 to 50 grams of fiber a day, where are you going to get all that fiber from? Oh yeah, that's right. Get it from carbohydrate-rich foods. So with that 25 to 50 grams of fiber, you also get 250 to 500 grams of carbohydrates if you're not careful. How are you going to get all that fiber without all the carbs associated with it? And then with all those carbs comes weight gain and cancer and diabetes and Alzheimer's and dementia and poor health. So let's take frozen peas for an example for fiber. One of the highest, and everyone knows what they are. Basically, you have 5 grams of fiber per half cup. There's about 11 servings in a 32-ounce bag. So that's a good-sized bag. We're not talking that little one. We're talking the next size up. To get to 50 grams a day, you would need to eat the whole bag. Can you or do you want to eat that much of a food? Or you could eat 6 to 12 avocados a day. Who's going to eat that much food? I know you get it from other sources as well. I'm just showing you the sheer volume of food it takes to achieve those guidelines. And no, fiber intake does not lower cholesterol. And why would you want to lower cholesterol anyway? It's one of the secrets of good health. How can you say that, Eric? Well, I can say that because anything that Big Pharma tells you is bad for you is probably good for you. Many doctors are now starting to change their mind on cholesterol, and they're starting to realize it's very good for your health. Here's a question for you. How do you know adequate fiber is what you need for good bowel health? Well, most people can't answer that question. Here's how it started. Fiber theory came from a guy named John Burkett, who was a West African surgeon. He noted that the traditional peoples did not have any bowel disease, any of them. So Burkett studied the diets of these people. He then studied the modern people living in the cities and places like that. Then concluded that since the modern people had bowel diseases and the traditional peoples didn't, it was because of the fiber. You can read his paper. You can still find it. He also spoke about the Maasai tribe, which I have spoken about early in my channel as well. They have perfect bowel health. They eat absolutely no fiber. They consume meat, cultured dairy, and blood. They're also the masters of fermentation. They ferment most of their food because they do not have refrigeration. All this fermentation creates so many good bacteria, and that then populates their gut. When you culture or ferment foods, the good bacteria consume the fiber, break it down into components that are good for you. So if you want to consume fiber, then let the bacteria break it down for you. You know, that's what ruminant animals do, like cows or deer or goats. They eat tons and tons of fiber. Then they turn that fiber into nutrients for us because we don't have multiple stomachs. Now, they say fiber makes you fuller so you don't eat as much food. Therefore, you will lose weight. Well, It doesn't actually do anything for you besides cause ill health. Fat is what satiates you. You can eat tons of fiber. You're gonna chew a lot, that's for sure. You can only eat so much fat and then you're done. Much less than fiber or carbs or protein. And no, fat does not make you fat. There is one fat that does, and that would be vegetable or seed oils, and any food that they get those oils from. One of the problems with fiber for children is it will obstruct the duodenum. Fiber harms children a lot more than it does to adults, and the results can be irreversible. Forcing kids to eat food that is not healthy for them is never a good idea. You should find the food your kids like and then feed that food to them. Of course, I'm not talking about things like cereal and pizza. I'm talking about real food, like meat, eggs, cheese, fish, that kind of thing. If you have to do carbohydrates, organic white rice, squash, zucchini, pumpkin. Yeah, get rid of the seeds and skin. That's unhealthy. But the fleshy part, that's okay. It's fine. Or you could do some small amount of berries. That should be like the dessert, that's the treat kind of thing, Not tons and tons of berries as much as they want to eat. But this obstruction that they can get causes inflammation in the gut. And then that inflammation affects the pancreatic and bile ducts. And then when you block those, you get things like pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas. And that will damage the structures of their pancreas that produces insulin. And then your child becomes a diabetic. By the way, that applies to you as well. Just hits kids more. Well, I know this is a short episode on fiber and I could make this thing 3 hours long, but I think you get the gist of everything. You don't need it. If you like it in your foods and you're fine with it, then fine. But fiber can be very coarse on the gut. It does not sweep and clean like everybody tells you. If you don't already know, I do consult for a fee if you have anything you need to work on. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Really appreciate you guys. If you want to contact me, it's all over the place. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.